for more cluster homes for them, because they don't deserve to be on the street. They deserve to be housed and taken care of. And the state just dumps and walks.
I think we need a lot more assistance in transition, like transitional programs. So, while yes, they need housing, they need shelter. That's a shelter for night. But in the day, there should be assistance to guide them to. Excuse me?
When you're in a shelter, you are demanded to leave during the day.
And during the day, we can get them training courses, education, job training programs, things like that. There should be assistance.
The state defunded.
Well, then I'm here now to get some money back into it.
Okay, that's what we need. Because the Town Parkway South especially has been severely impacted.
Yes, it has, and I heard it's kind of backwards, but from the officers that have been there and speaking to the people, the individuals that are just doing nothing, are doing the drugs. Some of them don't even live in the Bronx or in this neighborhood, but they're staying in shelters in Brooklyn. They come up here because they know it's nice, they know it's safe, they know that they're going to get $1 on the street.
But it's not anymore, and the housing that has been built for low income has been taken over with state programs that pay the landlords a higher amount of rent, and they're paying the landlords to they're giving more money to the landlords, and the landlords would
That's right.
Well then, this is something I'm certainly going to look into now, going back in January, and if you have time, let's sit down so we can talk more about it, break it down, and give me a game plan to go back to Albany with.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. My question was, what are you going to do to stop or slow down all the development that is going on in the Bronx, in our area, because there's no parking, it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, they claim affordable housing, according to the AMI, is anywhere upward from 30,000. You have to make a minimum income of 30,000 and up. There are people here, elderly, disabled, that are on fixed incomes that maybe make 15,000 a year. So there's affordable housing is a term that's used to get the city to say, okay, they're doing affordable housing, and we'll dedicate 10% of that housing to low income. Well, 10% of, let's say there's 30 apartments, 10% of that is 3. So, I mean, it's all a word game, and we're getting pushed out of our neighborhood because of word games and because of whatever corruption is going on. The developers I don't know who's in whose pocket, but the developers are just giving us the bum rush here, and we're being steamrolled, and it has to stop. And we need.
All very quick.
It's exactly.
And knowing that this is an obvious problem, we're seeing like every other week or month that there was a permit put in. And the might go up here. I have a meeting coming up with the Commission for the Department of Buildings to talk about this issue. I would like to know every time a new permit goes in. I want to speak to those developers. What are you planning here? And why are you planning this? Let me tell you what the needs are. We do need more senior housing. I would love to have a building here for just senior housing. I would love to have a building here that has ample parking compared to the units there. I want to look into that legislation, if it is state, if I can do that, to see that there is a requirement. If you have a certain other buildings, make that percentage higher for the parking that is either in there, if they make a deck or around or.
But they're not required for parking, because as long as they're around the subway or a train or a bus.
No. Half a mile from the subway stop. That's what.
Right. As long as they're around public transportation, they're not required to provide parking. And I think there should be legislation, right, that they need to. They have to be mandatory to make it that for every. If they have 35 apartments, they should have 35 parking spots.
I agree.
At least.
Yes, I've been taking notes. I see the Facebook and everything of who sees what and what building is where. And these are my first questions as to what's going to happen here. And I take your concerns, I take every comment seriously, and I am going to express that to them. Because I do agree too. I don't think there should be these huge buildings here. This is not the neighborhood for it.
No.
And I don't want to see it so overcrowded.
Right.
Yes, I had the opportunity to work in a shelter, as a security guard. And while, they were talking about shelters, they do, like Marcy said, they make them get out of shelter. They don't make them get out. They have a time limit to do what they're supposed to do, to get their help. And, different types of shelters. So I mean, in my opinion, in the shelters they should have, a little bit more training or whatever.
Well, you should. I also met with Department of Homeless Services about this, and I specifically asked, how do you get the individuals off the street and into a shelter? Because we know that if they say no, they can stay there. They have the right to remain. And they told me that there are some people that they go constantly, every week, every day, asking them again, are you sure you don't want to go into our system and our program? We have this, we have so much to offer you. And there was a story they told me, I believe, I think a couple or two separate individuals, for a whole year they were returning to the same park that they would stay at, the same grocery store that they'd go to in Panhandle, and continually ask them and encourage them. And finally, after a year, they're like, okay, fine, thank you. They go into the shelter, they're getting the services, there are I guess social services, you want to say, to get them the mental health treatment, to get them the drug treatment if there are drugs, and to try to get them job education, to get them back on their feet so they're not homeless anymore. So I want to say the Department of Homeless Services is kind of doing that outreach, but there absolutely needs to be more, I believe.
I'm sorry, I should have said, it's not a question, at the end, it might be a question. And it's, about the shelter. I used to work in the shelter. While I was working in the shelter, I received an invitation to work for Hope. Hope was kind of like a survey to look for homeless people. I mean, I wanted to go to Manhattan because I was working in the Bronx. But, it was a good experience. I mean, I like it. The reason why I went to it, because I wanted to learn. A lot of people went because, they have different reasons. Credit, points, or whatever. I wanted it to find out how can you help the homeless. I really did want to find out. Find a home. We didn't find nobody, because we went, I remember we went, it was freezing. We went around, I don't know, Bay Plaza where the houses are. And, we were a couple, I think the guy said, what you want to do? No, we have to have a job. We have papers on, let's talk about somebody who know is not homeless. What do you need if you're a homeless person? And, that was the experience, and, it's hope, I got a t-shirt and everything. But then, how the government, we talking about shelters, the shelter that I work, this is a nonprofit. Then, hope, that it's a program. And so, and, it's a lot,
You have a question or?
So the question is how the government, is going to allocate, so many, help for these programs when we have also foundations that can help you.
Well, I mean, bottom line for all, you need money to get the people to do the job, to see them, to bring them back to the services. So, bottom line, it's getting more funding, and as I said, I'm going to fight for that.
Yahira, in the back. Just speak up.
It's already a year, almost a year and a half in this area. So I've been watching it, observing it, been jotting down information. Because if you now, where are you planning to go as far as your next step? Because this all has been repeated over and over again. And so there are too many cheese, not enough videos. And none of you guys are not going to choose to do your job. And now when we talk about mental health, it's the people that you're looking for as far as outreach are also in need of mental health because they won't understand or help the emotional in the street and why they're not taking the help that we're constantly talking about. Why they're not taking the the opportunity of the resources that are already there, like home 201 or 311, right? You guys are wasting time. Because you guys are not really truly talking about exactly what we need. And it's only the same thing over and over and over again. Now, if you have a plan to become president of the United States of America, watch out and be careful. If it's gonna take a whole lot of army, you can really back you up. Because it's much more than just what you're talking about.
So
I know you have your path. You have your
Yeah, here.
Yes.
We are, our group is not a 501c3. We don't even have, no, I want to answer your question. Because I sense your skepticism, I sense the cynicism. No, I know, you live in Parks. Yeah, hero. No one holds our elected officials more accountable than I do, and then more than this group does. Yes, we do have to talk, but we do have to do it in a civilized manner. I'm not going to be paranoid of an elected official, you know, what's her agenda. I know. She works very hard for us, and
that's why I was going to say that she brought that path, of course.
Okay. All right.
Her dreams, no one knows how to hear, right?
Okay. Angela, go ahead.
First I want to thank everyone for really, it's like we're on fire, identifying what the issues are. I'm thankful that a person who is in a position to make change is saying, I'm here, this is my second time coming, I'm bringing my whole group, and we're listening. So it's for us. I live in Allerton, and just like Raphael, you were on point, right? Because when you're not on point, I'll let you know you're not on point, Raphael. But you were on point in identifying some real critical issues that need to be addressed. As far as mental health, the police can come if you're committing a crime. That's why we have police. If you're committing a crime, and also they're also there to help. But we have to help ourselves, so we have to know how to approach. Just like we're in here, we're all different colors, we all have different ideas and everything. We have to be respectful of one another. On Allerton Avenue, at any time you can go on Allerton, and you see homelessness, you see substance abuse. I see liquor stores being open where people who might have alcohol issues helping to clean up and stuff like that. We are one another's brothers and sisters. We are one another's keepers. So it's the approach in identifying, approaching people and making them aware. We do need more drug treatment, mental health, and substance abuse programs here in the Bronx. Because that is, I don't know statistics, but you could just see, you go in Allerton and in Pelham Parkway, and people walk from one end to the other. People are stressed out, there's not enough jobs, and usually that's what happens with people. They're folding under the pressure. So it's important that we continue to identify places in the Bronx, like Jacoby, like NCD, and we're helping each other out because we are at a critical point and everything. Most people, that was somebody's child. Only for the grace of God, it's not you or me. You know what I'm saying? So it really is important in the Bronx. If we're noticing an increase in different people being dumped in our borough, they're part of our family. Until they're strong enough to do better, I think we have a responsibility to say, are you aware this place offers this services? If you have children, if you need me to babysit your kids, or if you want me to walk with you, I see what you're going through, that we don't stigmatize anyone. That's, in my opinion, as a social worker, as someone who grew up in the Bronx and went to PS 96, 135, Christopher Columbus, Syracuse University, and Fordham University. It's time for us to put our money where our mouth is. So, we each have a part to do. So there's certain things you can boldly go out, or there's certain things that I've seen people in this room do things quietly, but they got their hands on it, and they're not afraid to go and meet with elected officials and say, these are the things that I know in my community. I went to the mental health counseling session. It was fabulous. I think anyone that's in this borough needs to go to it, so that when we see somebody breaking down, we're not whispering and laughing. I'm talking a lot, but I'm talking from the heart. So when I talk from the heart, it's just like a blade. So we have to really help, because we're in a crisis. We are in a crisis. And And if we wanna turn it around, just like we're saying, this meeting is happening right now. I hear her saying, call my office because I'm listening. I got my other person here who's listening, and I'm gonna do as much as I can. And we have to each do that. So in Allerton, I am concerned about drug addiction. I am concerned about alcoholism. I am concerned about the kids not getting hit at the crossing Allerton Avenue. I got hit. So, and when I walk behind kids praying and saying, please God, don't let anything happen to these children and stuff. So as we identify issues, we need other people to say, these are real issues.
We have to.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I wanted to make a comment on any of that, thank you. Like I said, my door is open, and bottom line, I just can't do this job alone, and I don't intend to. I can't. The community, you are the eyes and ears. You see, you report, you let me know. I can't be everywhere at once, so what I do mean that when I say, please come to me, I'm listening because what you care about, I care about. So raising this village together, our lovely ADPD, communicate, because that's the only way we can succeed.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to get to your question. We have a couple of new attendees to the meeting. I would like to know if you have questions for our group or the Assemblywoman. No? Yeah? No question? Okay, I was just trying to be nice. But anyway, Mark Hayles, go ahead.
It's not really a question, it's a statement.
Let's do a question, Mark.
I don't have a question, I had a comment.
Let's save that for later. All right, Francis, then Diana.
Who does the funding for like community events? Like I heard this year there's gonna be no Halloween for it.
No, this there is.
Well, those community events, that comes from my fundraising, going back to campaign, not political talk, but I raise some money for the community. It does help me pay for the palm cards, but basically that is so I can give back to the community that donated to me. So, yes, there will be a Halloween parade for maybe like 3 days, wasn't sure of it, but we got the funds there. And that will be on October 27th, so following like we've done the last couple of years with Front Parkway and Allerton, we'll be starting the march on Allerton, and then going to PS 105 and doing the Halloween parade.
Francis, I don't know
if I brought flyers.
Flyers are on the
I put flyers out there for,
So that's our Halloween event. The councilman, myself, and I'll be including our new senator-elect. We'll be doing the Hanukkah and Christmas lightings this year because these are the community events that we love. It makes us happy. It feels good, and it's wonderful to celebrate together. So for those little extras, that comes from the elected officials and what we're able to do with, the support that we have there.
Next question, Diana.
Madam, visitor wants to make a quick announcement about the service.
Alberto? Okay.
How are you? I'll be quick. I'm with the Mayor's and Department of Consumer
No,
Affairs.
wait, tell him to come up. No,
Alberto, come
hold
up
on,
here.
wait, are we done with Natalia first?
Well, wait, Alberto, is this a question or announcement? All right, right after her,
Wait.
we'll go into announcement. My mistake. And these glasses make it hard to hear, Do we have any more
We
questions?
got mental health for that.
Thanks, Joe. You're out of hand today, Joe. Out of order. Any other questions? Jackie.
Thank you. Natalie, thank you. That training was awesome. Absolutely phenomenal. There are a lot of lots that are available or that I see that are new. Mace and Barker, for one, it did belong to Beth Ave at one time. I understand that it doesn't belong to Beth Ave anymore. We have a very big parking, very big. Okay, people, sit outside for hours and hours and hours. Okay, and I know that Bob has looked for a temporary solution for a lot of us. We don't know how long that's gonna be because that location where we're parking at supposedly is gonna be torn down and they're gonna build buildings for low income people. Okay, that's what I heard, and I also heard from anyway, my question is, those lots that are available, can't we, how do we go about, making it so that we make it into a lot, or, I know someone will have to buy it, but, it's a different situation from what I can see from my standpoint, but, if there's any way that we can get that, or if that they still has it, they're not using it, can we use it, you know, on a temporary basis, you know, so that.
Email me the exact location, I do want to make some.
Email her the location, so.
I don't know if I told you, Jackie, I met with the property owners, I had to go out to Brooklyn, where's that part of Brooklyn with the, where a lot of the Hasidic Jews live, I forget.
Borough Park.
Somewhere like that. I went there on a 110-degree day, whatever. I met with them, you know, I wrote a plan, you know, I'll manage the parking lot, you know, until you develop, and they never got back to me. So, I had his cell number, I had his office number, he never got back to me.
Let Natalia call him.
The problem with some of this stuff, and it always happens, even when Frankie and Johnny's bought those two houses next to them, that's residential. So to put cars there is illegal. You can't rent commercial in a residential zoning. So that could be the problem. Most of these places that I see an empty lot here and there, you have to look what the underlying zoning is. And to change the zoning is a ULURP. And the ULURP, city planning won't allow spot rezoning. So it's a complicated process. It's the city of New York sets those rules and regulations. There's a new text amendment that the mayor passed that every community board in New York City voted against. That was the one talking about in new housing that if you were half a mile from a subway stop, you didn't need parking. If you have a senior development, you don't need parking. I'm just telling you what actually happened. So every community board, like I said, voted against it. The mayor just went over everybody and just passed this text amendment. So some of the times, people really don't know everything, but some stuff happens without you knowing about it, and unfortunately, it affects you tremendously. I chaired the land use committee for 10 or 15 years, Community Board 11, and every time a developer came in, the whole issue was parking, parking, parking. So most of the elected officials, community board people know about this, and unfortunately, it's something that when the person is at the head, like the mayor, they have a vision. And the vision is bicycles, mass transportation. So Robert Moses isn't around anymore, so cars are out. I hate to say it like that, but that's what's happening. And sometimes it's out of the hands of even local elected officials. So that is one issue. That's a major issue because most of these lots that are empty, they're going to be developed because the mayor wants to put in housing. And he doesn't care if there's cops, fires, sanitation. As long as there's housing, that most elected officials want to have a legacy, and that's what, in my opinion, that's what's happening. So I know it's a long-winded explanation, and I understand your frustration because my wife comes home many times at night. I live just a mile from here, and it's very difficult to park. And like I said, being the chair of the land use committee, I got thousands and thousands of requests parking. You have to go by the law too.
But I thank you for the information because I didn't know or I didn't recognize the fact that.
Well, that's why some,
In a residential area, you couldn't have a lot like that.
You can have a lot like that, but it has to be commercial property, which it's probably not. You have commercial overlays, like this neighborhood here, 100 feet in is commercial, even though upstairs is residential. This is a residential neighborhood with a commercial overlay. It's, like I said, you almost have to be like a half a lawyer to, figure this stuff out. But I mean, doing this 10 or 15 years, I have a little bit handle, and basically, it is what it is.
Okay, so at one point it belonged to Beth Abraham, okay? And they.
Beth Abraham is a community facility, all right? There's another rule. They have different rules. Churches, community facilities, places of worship,
Restaurants?
there's,
no, not schools.
But this lot is not even on their quarterback. They're across the street. This is private home, private home, private home, private
So it's
home.
probably residential, so you can't park cars there.
They
I didn't say they didn't do it illegally.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I'm trying to say is that they can't allow that to charge people because that'll be illegal if it's residential.
Marcy, before that, before people leave, I did text everyone about the parking situation. So I spoke to the manager of Walgreens, and as you know, Walgreens is closed from 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. I met with him today, and a lot of times you see these poor souls driving around Bronx Park East and everywhere else looking for parking in the late night hours. So I don't want you to broadcast this to everyone because this is, this is a trial period, but he said from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. the community can park in the parking lot. There's 17 spots there, but I just want to be very, I will give it a plug, but I want to be very delicate with it because I don't want there to be problems where he, is opening up his store at 8 a.m. and he's got 15 cars in his lot. If you park there, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. when Walgreens is closed. So if you park there at 10 p.m., you have to be out by 8 a.m. So ideally, this is a weekday thing. 7:30, you're out, 7:45, you're out. The other thing I want you to do, and everyone who you tell this, I'm sure you have friends who come home at 11, midnight, something like that, they gotta text me. They gotta text me their name and their license plate number just in case. Because Walgreens, they're a Goliath corporation. They're not gonna take down their tollway signs. The tollway signs are gonna be there. It's just, wink and a nod, you know what I mean? So if you know people, because I'm trying to figure out ways to address this parking situation. It's not easy. We do have a lot of developments coming up. Unfortunately, nothing's for certain until the concrete gets poured. But, that's my parking thing. Anyway, so we're gonna wrap up soon, but so last question, who has a question for the Assemblywoman? Raise your hand. Okay, so last question is Marcy.
Okay, it's really to Joe. So the mayor has his idea is housing and bike lanes and things like that. Isn't there a balance in the city government with the city council?
Unfortunately, New York City is a mayor-centric city. The mayor has so much more control. He appoints all the people in all the agencies. He has the budget. It's really, even though
there's like the federal government where
there's only two governments in the United States. The Constitution said there's a federal government and a state government. That's it. So whatever rules and regulations we have, it comes from the state. It doesn't, and people think like, oh, we're New York City, we're big. No. You gotta go by the Constitution. It's a mayor-centric city. And only till recently, in 1989, they changed the city charter. Then the borough presidents had a lot of power. After that, the mayor became powerful. Only recently with some of these newer progressive council people, as the council bucked the mayor. But really, you got to come overwhelmingly to.
Who was mayor in 89?
That was Dinkins.
Giuliani. I don't
It wasn't Koch? Oh, that wasn't Koch?
The point is, it's a mayor-centric city. The mayor has lots and lots of power.
No, not Giuliani.
Much more than almost. You'd have to get the 51 council people on board, which never happens, to override the mayor overwhelmingly. And there's very, very few things. Even when these term limits came along, the council person in this area was told, get on board, otherwise you're off the train, you get nothing. No services, no extra money, you'll be in the shadows.
Sounds like corruption to me.
So that's what the mayor could say. So, and that's what happens a lot of times. I hate
That's
to say
corruption.
it, but that's part of it. It's not corruption.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
It's
It's not his money. It's,
If there's no more questions, I guess I'll wrap it up. I'll leave my cards in the back there. Please email me, I check my emails.
Where is your office?
My office right now is at 1126 Pelham Parkway South. I am looking to move it, hopefully not too far from that location, and the reason being, even though I love the location with the bus and the train available, that office is falling apart. When I go in there, you'll see it's nice. But right now, yes, 1126 Pelham Parkway South. I'll leave some cards in the back. Thank you for being the active community member that you are.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Call me if you need me.
Farhad? Yes, sorry. Farhad works for the Assemblywoman. He answers his emails very quickly. Please, if you have any issues, take down his email address. Email is a good way to communicate. Before we wrap it up, I wanted to get, where is he? Alberto? Where are you? I have glasses. Alberto, you have to leave?
I think it would be.
You have to leave. Who has the doggy poo signs? I passed it around for suggestions. Who has them? Four signs. Come on, people.
I have another announcement that I didn't get to do before.
Anyone? All right, so I posted on our social media, and I was also passing around about new signs to counteract the dog poo problem and the littering problem we have in the neighborhood and borough. I was passing it around to get your feedback. But thanks to a donation from the Bronx Muslim Center, they gave $200 towards lamination of these signs. So I just want to get them finalized so I can get them up quickly. So please, who has them? Hello? 4 signs? Really? Okay, anyway. So, thank you everyone for coming. I know it was a cold night. I know a lot of information. It was a long time. Our next meeting is Thursday, November 15th, due to the Thanksgiving holiday. The third Wednesday fell the day before Thanksgiving, and that wasn't going to be conducive to people coming out. So, I'll see you November 15th. Thank you again, and keep in touch. There you are. These are the signs. If you want to take a look at them, please come right up and give me your opinion.
Hey, Raphael.